Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Ramos, and I am so excited about this live. This live is going to be absolutely amazing. I have Dr. Heather with me, and we are going to go through the basics of what ketones are, why you should drink them, what sets Prüvit apart, how are our ketones different than maybe the ketones that you find on a shelf. And so I'm super excited to bring her on to really dive into the science behind really like what's happening in your body when you are drinking pure therapeutic ketones. Let's see, bring her on. Let's see, I hit that button. Yeah, I think I need you to request it one more time, Dr. Heather. So make sure you are on here right after this live. We will go through and we will timestamp everything. So any questions that you have, you can go straight to the answer and you can find exactly the answers that you're looking for, because pure therapeutic ketones have completely shifted my life. I found these back in July of 2016. I have never missed a day of drinking ketones, and I've never felt so good in my life. And I really want more people to understand why it's working in your body. There she is right there. Sending you an invite, Dr. Heather. Oh, she's adding. This is going to be so exciting.
Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I was just listening to everything you were saying.
Oh, I have a notebook full of questions, and I cannot wait to get these answers because I know how I feel on pure therapeutic ketones, but I can't always explain why I'm feeling what I feel. I just know everybody needs to be drinking this because I've never felt so healthy, so strong, so clear in my entire life. And so I'm excited to learn from you today. So first of all, will you tell everyone here like who you are, a little bit about your profession, and what got you started with ketones and got you excited about ketones?
Sure. Well, my name is Dr. Heather Cardin. As Sarah said, I'm coming to you live from Kansas City. I am the co-owner of Cardin Center for Wellness. I've been practicing for 26 years as a functional wellness physician. So a little bit what that means is we actually look at the whole body. We look at what is stopping the body from healing, and it always starts with what you're eating. So we've been actually studying the low carb ketogenic lifestyle for well over 20 plus years. We've been living it in our life. We've been teaching our family, our patients, and I know sometimes how hard it can be to actually get in that phase of ketosis, or more importantly, how much sugar can hijack your brain and how it can influence your body. And we also know how important fasting can be and the importance of fasting, intermittent fasting. And I'm super excited because when we opened up our clinic 25 years ago, there was no social media. It was so hard to actually tell people we were doing no sugar workshops and trying to encourage people to actually just say no to sugar. But we knew what ketones could do and they actually could connect to your brain. And I actually was approached, I would say, in 2015 because I was actually known for writing articles. I was known as the keto doc for teaching about the ketogenic diet. I was not popular back then. I was told not even to go as the keto doc because that would not go anywhere. And Prüvit reached out to me, or Brian Underwood, our CEO, reached out and said, hey, would you do some Q&A, some FAQs, and teach people the frequent answer questions, just like we're doing here today, 8 years later, and teach people about what ketones can do? And I said, no, I've actually got to drink them myself. So I actually had an accident. I had a skiing accident and had trouble getting into ketosis. I knew I was an athlete. I was not going to be able to be weight bearing for several weeks or a few months. And I'm like, I've got to maintain my lean muscle mass. I knew all about what ketones could do for your body. I could not get my level of ketosis high enough. My pain was too high. I wasn't sleeping. I was mad. My 15 and 16-year-old sons were driving me around. I knew all that would influence my level of staying in natural ketosis. So I grabbed a bag of ketones from someone and said, give those to me. I drank them. My ketone level popped up. I slept better that night. The next night I slept better. I slept better. My mood was better. I wasn't so mad at my husband because he was able to go to the gym. So I knew what the power of what they had. I already knew people had tried for decades to publish an exogenous ketones. I knew about the power of supplementation when your gut and your body were unhealthy. So I was super excited. I knew it was pure. I knew about the patent pending. I had been to the lab. I would have been all in. Unlike you, I actually had a period where I couldn't drink exogenous ketones because when we went live back in 2015, we got hundreds of thousands of servings behind. We actually went live with our website at, no, you probably didn't ask this question, but we went live at 10 p.m. I had computers stretched out all over. We actually could invite 5 people to the conversation. You could buy 1 serving or 75 servings each. That's it, of the orange flavor. We sold out 100,000 servings because we could only make 40,000 units at one day in our plant in Texas, and it would sell out in 28 minutes. The next day, 38 minutes the first day, then 28 minutes Central Standard Times. We're all trying to log in, and the bandwidth was being packed out. So we actually got like 12 to 13 weeks behind schedule. And so we really found out what happened when you didn't have ketones. If you ever doubted it then, you found out how good you felt with them. And then when you didn't have them, everything else started piling back. You started craving sugars. People started not sleeping well. Their moods weren't as happy. So it was crazy what happened with people felt like, gosh, I really maybe doubted what they were doing. Now I really know what can happen when they're in my body. So that's why I am so excited about ketones and everyone actually experiencing what they can do for their body. I'm like you. Every time I got on a plane, I shake them up. People are asking me. I had a 3.5-hour flight from Seattle. Everyone's like, what are you doing? What are you drinking? Why are you doing that? And it is a, nonstop conversation. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. And it's funny because I have come across people that are like, oh, I went without ketones and I didn't know how good I felt until I felt like I did before, all over again when I stopped my ketones. And I'm like, I will never experience that because I will never go a day without ketones. Luckily, our factory is up and going, and it is huge in Dallas, and we're open in 40 countries. And so we are in a good place right now. But I heard you say, like, we know the benefits of ketosis and how powerful they are. Some people watching might not understand, like, what is ketosis? So let's go back to like the basics. Like, what is it mean if you are in a state of ketosis?
Great question, because I sometimes assume everyone understands that because it is the top hashtag word or one of the top ones. But ketosis simply means your body's in a metabolic state where it's burning fat for fuel versus burning sugar for fuel. So you're actually just burning fat for fuel. We consume fat in our diet, and when our body goes a length of period, or if you actually just are super physically active and you burn through all your glucose or glycogen, or you consume a diet that's high in fat, nuts, seeds, oil, grass-fed meats, and low in carbohydrates, your body will actually tap into your stored fat or use the fat that you're consuming, nuts and seeds and oil or grass-fed meat, and your body will actually break those down and use those for fat. It's a very much more efficient fuel source than glucose. The fuel source lasts anywhere from 3 to 4 hours in your body versus carbohydrate, which is glucose. Everyone's familiar with glucose. It's a standard pyramid. Ketosis simply means you're metabolically burning fat for fuel. And when you're in that state, you have better cognition, better recall. Your brain just fires much better. There's a better connection from your brain to the rest of your body. Digestion's better. Everything from your head to your toe just operates much, much better.
Nice. So this packet right here, how does this packet get you into a state of ketosis if you're not doing the ketogenic diet?
Because that packet, and I have a couple samples here myself, it's straight beta hydroxybutyrate, which is one of the ketone bodies that your body makes. I use an example of iron because people understand that. If your doctor says you're anemic and you could get an iron tablet, that's an all natural tablet made from bugleweed, spinach leaf, beet leaf. It's just broken down. It's power packed full of things that make iron. So you're not eating 65 cups of spinach for your body to break it down and make iron to help your state of anemia. You're actually just taking a ferrous sulfate or byproduct of iron, and it helps raise your iron level because there's no way you could eat 65 cups of spinach if you need iron. The same thing's true. This pack, or the crazy grape you just had, the groovy grape, is straight ketones. This is beta hydroxybutyrate. Your body makes 3 different kinds of ketones. BHB, or beta hydroxybutyrate, is just a byproduct of when your body breaks down a bunch of avocado oil or a bunch of palm kernel oil, or when you're in a deficit of glucose, your body's burned through all the carbohydrates or glucose in your blood cells because you either fasted or you went and ran a marathon, or you went and maybe just cycled 10 or 12 miles. You haven't refed back in, had a banana or had a smoothie or something else and refed your body back carbohydrates. Your body taps into your stored fat, breaks it down, and gets fat and breaks it down and makes a ketone body. This is straight ketones. So you simply just shake it up with some water and it goes right into your body's system. and it's water soluble, and you're in ketosis within just minutes. It works just like any other supplementation you're putting into your body, but this is a fuel source.
That's amazing. So before we start going into details on each like benefit that we can get from drinking Pure Therapeutic Ketones, what makes Prüvit different than any other ketone product out there?
This is my number one question I get. It's still to this day, which I am shocked. We are the only product in the world that is bioidentical to what our body makes. That's why we can claim that 90% of the time we put your body in the state of ketosis. There are other products, like you say, on the market that say ketose or ketones, but they're not bioidentical to what our body makes. Your body may absorb it, but it doesn't absorb it completely enough, or there's not enough in there that our body recognizes that, hey, that's a ketone just like I make. Let me go ahead and put that into the cell. That'll raise my level high enough to put me in a state of ketosis. You still may get some benefit, but it's not going to put you time and time again in that state of ketosis. People will focus on the grams of beta hydroxybutyrate. You can have a whole bunch, but if your body doesn't recognize it, it's just going to go straight into the toilet, or you're going to sweat it out. Your body recognizes it. The cell's going to go, aha, I know what that is. I'm going to take that in. I'm going to absorb it, put it into my mitochondria where the energy is made in the cell, and I'm going to use that for energy first because it's quick available energy.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, let's dip into some of the benefits here. Let's start with brain health. This is one of my favorite benefits. I'm a former teacher, and so the focus, the clarity, the memory recall, like it is so near and dear to my heart as I'm collecting all of these stories. We're collecting stories as a community of all different ages that are experiencing the light bulbs in their brain start to work again. How are ketones making such an amazing impact like for cognition and brain health?
Just kind of like I shared before, ketones, well, first of all, when you're digesting fats, you don't need any insulin. So you don't get that rise at glucose at fall, which is when most people are eating, they feel good for a few minutes, and that's that dopamine response, and then they get sleepy afterwards, that glucose falls. So when you're eating fats, or if you're in a state of ketosis, your glucose level is steady. But we also know that if there's been a damaged brain, say, you're a kiddo riding your bike and you forgot your helmet, you fell down the stairs when you were a baby, or you had a bicycle accident, skateboard accident, or snowboarding accident, you've had some type of bruised brain in your lifetime, that those cells got damaged in your brain. And what happens is you lose the ability to uptake glucose and use it for energy in your brain. But with ketones, even with the bruised part of your brain, you still can uptake that metabolism to use ketones in your brain. So we hear all the time, I don't have brain fog anymore because I hear better, I see better, my reaction time, even with clinical studies and research and science, we're seeing that recall and cognition is up to 30% higher because ketones have a far more efficient energy source. They're 33% more efficient than carbohydrate or glucose metabolism. They're oxygen sparing. So, oxygen is so important for brain reaction time, for cognition. So that's why it helps the gamut of brain connection just from wiring and connection or signaling from brain to brain. More energy per molecule, oxygen sparing. And then again, there's parts of the brain that gets damaged over lifetimes from simple trips and falls, let alone if you're a competitive athlete or you've been in a car wreck. And ketones can still be uptaked into that area of the brain that was damaged during that trauma in your life.
Wow. That was such a good answer. Like, thank you so much for that. The whole time I was like, gosh, the brain health that ketones could do, but just hearing you scientifically talk about it, it just lights me up. So you mentioned dopamine. So let's talk a little bit about like mood and hormones. What I notice is that when I drink ketones, my entire mood shifts for the better. I have a 4-year-old. It helps me with my patience. Sometimes it even makes me feel like I go from fight or flight to rest and digest. So how are ketones helping with mood?
So you're absolutely correct. We have a fight or flight and we have a rest or repose, or epinephrine, norepinephrine. We have those systems in our brain to help us in states of crisis, or help us pull an all-nighter in college, or whatever we need to do if your daughter's sick and you need to stay up all night. But there's a certain time in our life it's purposeful, and there's a certain time in our life that it can be damaging. Most of us lived in a state of over-aroused. We're over-aroused. We're on our social media. We're pushing ourselves further and further. We need to actually practice more of that sleep hygiene, calming our nervous system down. And so with dopamine, dopamine is one of those impulsivity. I want one more donut, one more chip. I got one more Netflix. I can do one more little laundry. I can vacuum one more room. I can do one more, which can be good sometimes in the gym. It can be sometimes detrimental and cause injuries in the gym or in the home. Yes, your home could sparkle a little bit more, but it actually is causing more detrimental health because you're causing burnout to your adrenal glands and your thyroid. Or eat one more donut can ultimately lead to, type 2 diabetes or other type of inflammatory diseases. But what ketones do is they actually help flip that switch from fight or flight to rest or repose, because it helps calm down the dopamine and increase GABA, which is our feel-good, joyful neurotransmitter. So we know there's a book called The Sugar Blues. So I'm getting a big answer here biochemically, but what it does is calm down dopamine and increase GABA, which is our joyful feel-good, and calm down our impulsivity. So, I have 4 boys. They spill something. Somebody has a flat tire because they were looking. I'm not gonna call my kids out. So I'm not gonna call anybody out. So something happens and somebody spills something. I'm a big dog. Dogs can be silly. My dog spills over its water bowl. Instead of getting mad at the dog, you're like, oh, no worries, it's just water, I'll clean it up. Where someone who's overstimulated, like, oh, dog, why'd you do that? People all the time say, I don't know why. I can just say, no worries, it's good. Just like if you have a visitor in your house and something happens, your reaction is much differently than if you're privately alone. You're like, oh, dog, what'd you do? We hear that all the time from parents, like, I can just let things roll over me. I can just be like the cool person, because your GABA, which is that joyful, feel-good neurotransmitter, is now balanced out. That impulsivity, that slight bit of rage, or again, that closet eating we hear all the time from people, that need for sugar, because dopamine does hijack that impulsivity, whether it is alcohol, drugs, sugar. There's a part of your brain that gets fired up and just wants more and more. Well, ketones help calm that down and calm down your nervous system.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm sure you already answered all of my questions, but I'm going to keep going through these just because, like, people out there who are looking for a certain benefit, I want them to find their answer, and I want them to believe in ketones as much as we believe in ketones, to really just give it a test drive. So let's kind of talk about the energy that we get from ketones. So when I started drinking ketones, I was addicted to coffee. I was addicted to sugar. I ran off of coffee all day long. It was all about heating up my coffee between class periods because I was a teacher. Well, I started drinking ketones and I noticed that I no longer wanted my coffee. So we are going to talk about cravings in a little bit, but how do ketones help with energy? I no longer needed my coffee anymore because I got better energy from ketones, whether it was caffeinated or caffeine free. So how do ketones work as energy in your body?
I think often people confuse stimulants like caffeine for energy. We only have 2 energy sources, and it's not caffeine, it's glucose and ketones. And again, that's a big confusion people make. They think that caffeine is an energy source. It's not. It's a stimulant that's a high and low and high and low. That's why people go for soda and coffee all the time, and then they end their day with some type of ice cream or alcohol to try to calm down their brain. It's not an energy source. Glucose and ketones are energy. So when you made that personal switch and you started putting ketones in your body, that's 30% more efficient than glucose. You're getting more oxygen. You became more steady. Your energy source went up 30% higher. You didn't need that stimulant anymore, that coffee, because now you took your energy level 37% more higher. I ask people all the time, what would you do if you could have 30+% more energy 5 to 6 hours a day? What would your day look like? What would you select to do? And you would be amazed at the answers people say, because people don't think it's possible. They just think, I'm just getting through the day. It's like Groundhog's Day again. And when you say, I actually have a solution that you could actually have 30% more energy 8 to 10 hours a day, they're like, I don't think it's possible. I'm just getting through my day. I'm a struggling teacher, doctor, mom, dad, just whatever. But it is possible to get off that, that wagon wheel, or whatever you want to call it, or that Groundhog's Day, where you can actually wake up and feel good every day.
Okay, let's roll right into the cravings now and the appetite suppression. What I crave is completely different than what I used to crave. The foods that I crave are different. I'm not hungry first thing in the morning. I don't have that sweet tooth ice cream like right before I go to bed anymore. And I didn't force myself to make those changes. I found those changes just by drinking ketones. So how are ketones actually changing our appetite and suppressing our appetite?
because they're putting you in that state of ketosis. When you're not in ketosis, that's when you start to crave those sugars. It's that dopamine response. Again, it all goes back to the brain. When you're in ketosis, it calms down that dopamine, which is that impulsivity. Dopamine makes you crave that sugar, because when you eat carbohydrates, your glucose response rises, and then it drops again 30 minutes later, which makes you hungry again. So every 30 minutes, kids go back to the cookie jar, adults go back for another cup of coffee, go back for another soda, but the cravings stop, because it also helps as a signaling molecule from that part of your brain to your stomach hormones, your leptin and ghrelin, actually starts recommunicating your leptin and ghrelin. I'm hungry and now I'm full, which creates satiety, that feeling of feeling longer. So when you're not snacking at night, you get that intermittent fasting going on. I don't want to get into too many sciencey words. Then you don't start that whole carbohydrate cycle first thing in the morning. You're up and down and up and down. You're going to be more satisfied first thing in the morning. So when you introduce foods like some fat coffee or keto cream, you put ketones in there, you're getting pure energy. It's just like straight fuel injection into your cells. You're not putting a bleached, enriched, some type of food coloring additives. I'm not calling out food names, but it could be a Pop-Tart or a piece of bleached, enriched bread into your body that your body has to somehow process, digest. It makes you sleepy and tired. 30 minutes, you want more of that, where now your body's actually focusing on mentally being focused, because you're putting straight ketones into your body first thing in the morning, or a functional fat keto cream. Now your body's getting all that fat that it needs, and it can focus on what you need to do during the day rather than digesting all that food first thing in the morning.
That's so incredible. So I'm assuming that's why people are experiencing fat loss. So my first week that I was on ketones, I was drinking ketones. I noticed it in my mood, and friends asked me, Sarah, what are you doing? Your body's transforming. That was my first week on ketones. And the crazy thing is I didn't always see it like on the scale. So the number wasn't always moving, but my actual body was transforming. So is that how ketones are helping with fat loss? Is it because it's really controlling like your hunger hormones?
Absolutely. And insulin is one of the major depositors of fat. And so when you're in ketosis, insulin is not getting a response. Carbohydrates require an insulin response. Ketones and fat, when you digest fats, you don't need an insulin response. You're not getting that fat deposit. And when you're in ketosis, as we said at the beginning, in case you just jumped on, ketosis means you're metabolically burning fat for fuel. When you're in ketosis, your body's not using insulin. It's tapping into your stored fat. Your body's just cruising along like it's on cruise in your car. It's not going, it's not going stop and start when you're actually, having carbohydrates all day long, and you're eating and eating and eating. Your body's going to save that extra fuel. If you're used to that 1980s and 90s style of eating 6 mini meals a day, when you're in ketosis, your body's metabolically more stable, your insulin's more stable, your glucose is more stable. You're not going to have those highs and lows where you feel like you need to constantly eat, every 4 or 5 hours, and you're just more satiated, which means that feeling of full and longer. Can't tell you how many patients come in. I'm like, why are you eating in the morning? Are you eating when you're hungry? Like, well, I'm just eating because it's morning. I'm eating because it's convenient. I'm eating because you're supposed to eat in the morning. They don't even know why they're eating, because their hunger hormones are just so much flip-flopped. They can't even tell what's going on, or they're so dehydrated they can't tell why they need to eat. They eat because it smells good or tastes good. And that's where that dopamine response to sugar is. Oh my gosh, that tasted good. It smelled good. I saw it. It looked good. I'm used to just driving through getting breakfast. It's just a habit. Instead of what ketones do, ketones help you take those cravings away, because now your body's in a really good homeostasis where you truly eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. And that's the best benefit of why you lose weight. Plus, it increases thermogenesis, which is fat burning your metabolism. You have more energy. You're more likely to get moving, not just come home and lay on the couch. And I'm sure you've experienced that with your daughter. You're up and moving more, running around more. And the biggest thing is people stop snacking at bedtime. People eat the majority of their calories by 6 p.m. So if we can help with our iFast program, our Reboot program, help people understand the power of just resting and not digesting after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., you're going to have huge benefits on getting better sleep, waking up, and not just diving into carbohydrates. So really
amazing.
Long answer.
No,
I'm sorry.
I love that answer. The science, I feel like I just kind of melt into it because I'm still learning it. but I'm experiencing all of this. So I love understanding why, because I want to do more with my day every single day. And I'm like, why is that? Why am I so motivated and so inspired to do more? My cravings have shifted. I'm just a happier person. And I can feel my body like signaling, saying, nope, you need to clean that out. Nope, you're going to hang on to that. And I'm like, maybe that's how my love handle started like disappearing a little bit. My body is actually communicating, saying, Sarah, you don't need that right there. You're never going to be in starvation. We're going to go ahead and clean that out for you. And so I love just hearing the science behind it. So let's talk someone that does not have any body fat to lose. So let's say they're wanting to experience the other benefits. They're wanting to gain muscle, but they don't want to lose any more weight, or they don't want to lose fat. Like, can they still drink ketones, and how is ketones going to help them?
Oh, absolutely. We hear this all the time from athletes, you know, that especially endurance athletes, that they're actually wanting to fast prior to their workouts. Because I actually just talked about this weekend, because I was at a wedding and they all did a 5K prior to the wedding. That was with 2. And we talked about eating before you actually run. And when you're eating and trying to do athletics, your body's not focused on performance. The same thing is true when you're teaching. If you're digesting and trying to teach, then all the energy is actually being split 50-50 from your brain to the rest of your gut, and your body's splitting hairs, so to speak, and your focus isn't on what you're doing. So when that happens and you're trying to increase your lean muscle mass, yes, we are promoting fasting on an empty stomach to increase lean muscle mass, because ketones help protect lean muscle mass. You just don't go in a calorie deficit. You prioritize proteins. We have an amazing product called Keto Pro, which has incredible science behind it that actually increases your lean muscle mass, increases and protects your muscle mass, and protects it while you're working out and post-workout. So again, you're protecting that lean muscle mass and increasing lean muscle mass synthesis. Our Mitoplex also increases and promotes lean muscle synthesis. So that person who's wanting to increase lean muscle synthesis, you want to still do intermittent fasting, because that's going to protect your lean muscle mass when you get better sleep. Your cortisol is regulated better, which will also increase lean muscle synthesis. So idealistically, when people are in ketosis, you get to your ideal body mass, and then you can just, again, toggle your macros, whatever you want to do for your body style to help increase and get where you want to be. And generally, people build muscle from targeting their workouts. And there is so much science behind working out, lifting fasted to get that PR in the gym, following it by doing things like Keto Pro and doing our targeted, Mitoplex, and Dr. Ryan Lowry, Dr. Jacob Wilson at the Applied Sport Institute in Tampa, who do a lot of research with athletes, talk about how to cycle with the Keto Pro, the Mitoplex with our NAT, to get those gains in the gym. So it's not just for fat loss. And we know right here is where it all happens, in the gym, or increasing that lean muscle mass. And for a non-athlete as well, someone who's trying to maintain their weight, that's a thinner body style, we know that also happens right here. It's not all about carbohydrates. And I hear this all the time. People think they have to eat more carbohydrates to gain more muscle mass. And you don't want to be a thinner, well, it's called TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. And this is actually in the medical books, thin on the outside, because that's, again, the visceral fats all around the organs. And women especially, I'm an advocate for actually making sure they have enough lean muscle mass. And that's another reason I love ketones and our other products for that. The keto cream as well, getting those healthy functional fats into your brain, and not just consuming a higher carbohydrate diet. We need the functional fat for our brain, especially as we age.
So wonderful. Okay, I have 2 more benefits I want to talk about, and then we'll kind of wrap this up with some of our systems and our bundles that we have. So you mentioned this a little bit, but I had someone who was only getting like 45 minutes of sleep per night for years. I don't know how someone functions like that. After 3 days of drinking ketones, she slept 5 to 6 hours straight. She got a full night's rest. How can ketones give you all this like energy, and at the same time, these ketones are helping calm you down? I know you've said that a lot, to be able to sleep. So can you speak just a little bit on ketones and sleep?
Yeah, so we have a great YouTube video we could actually post. I think it's posted on this page just a few times, but the science and research just quickly behind that says that ketones help you find your natural body's energy state. So our body organically, cortisol starts to taper off around 4 p.m., but really between 10 p.m., your cortisol, which is your energy, starts to taper off. When we're over-aroused, overstimulated state, we actually push our cortisol or inorganically up higher by foods and by stress and by watching TV. Well, ketones actually help flip that fight or flight to rest and repose, help flip that off. So I do help people and teach them to actually drink your ketones or your Keto Pro, your Better Broth, 45 minutes before your ideal sleep time, because that first 4 hours of sleep is so important. Studies show that having your brain in a state of ketosis, whether it's endogenous ketosis or exogenously, and I love the Keto Pro because the MCT, having it in exogenously in ketosis, especially that first 3 or 4 hours, helps your body debrief some of those environmental toxins they were exposed to that day, so you get better solid sleep. What happened with that person you shared it with is they were finally actually to get their brain to actually calm down enough to get in that good state of sleep. I hear all the time people like, I've taken so many XYZs for sleep. Why did this work? Because you actually naturally calm down your brain to where it can actually get that state of sleep that it needs. And for me, as the first thing I shared, is it actually helped me get sleep that first serving. So it actually is super important for your health. More important, I'm not going to say more important than anything else, but I think sleep is a secret weapon to overall health. But I love that it helped that person for sleep, and it should just keep building on and building on. With that being said, I'm going to give one little hack here. If you're a person who's waking up to use the restroom but needs more sleep, I'm going to say it's okay to mix with a little bit less water, because I don't want you mixing with 16 ounces and then trying to get better sleep, but then going to the bathroom at night. Maybe only mix it with 6 ounces, make it a little bit more concentrated if you're using it for sleep before bedtime. So 45 minutes before your ideal bedtime, shut everything off 45 minutes before. Mix your Keto Pro. I love the Pro because it has the extra proteins for your brain and it has the MCT, and mix it with 6 or 7 ounces of water. Don't go all in at 12 to 16 ounces of water, and then see what that does. Give it a good 5 to 10 days. Let your body get adjusted to it, and just focus on better sleep and set your body up for better sleep by turning off the blue lights, turning off the TV, turning off the Netflix, calm your body down, have an Epsom salt bath, go for a walk, sit out in the grass, read a book. So
that is such incredible advice, because I notice sometimes when people have that plateau with their fat loss, sometimes it really just comes down to like making sure that they get better sleep. And
absolutely.
So I think it is a powerful, powerful benefit. Okay, last benefit. Let's talk about skin. So I've noticed that it's helped so much with like blemishes, or if people have acne. How are ketones actually showing up on the outside and helping with skin and hair? And my nails are growing so fast. How is that all happening?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, actually. I think it's the synergistic formula we have with the ketones, because it's not just straight ketones. It's ketones are a salt bound to calcium, magnesium, potassium, B12, B6. Our skin is our largest organ. So when it increases our metabolism, we're increasing that detoxification phase. Again, our skin being our largest organ, as we detoxify things, some people get a little bit of a reaction in the bathroom. Other people get a reaction in their skin. But when you combine it with the MCT oil or the Better Broth that has the 3 different strands of collagen, it's going to increase the elasticity of your skin. I've heard people's skin tags going away, and that's because your insulin response is going down. When you're balancing out your insulin response, your skin's going to get better. Think of a piece of fruit like a peach that gets all wrinkly as it sits out. That's just the sugar oxidizing that. When you reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, your skin gets it gets tighter, it gets less saggy, it doesn't get as crepey. And same thing's true when you add in the functional fat, you're going to get less crepey skin. The collagen in there is going to tighten the skin. It happens a lot when people lose weight. Now they have this crepey skin, but when you add in the functional fat with the ketones, you're going to get the detoxification from the beta hydroxybutyrate. Plus, you're going to get the nutrients that are in our patent formula, adding in either the Better Broth or the type 2 collagen and the hyaluronic acid, and or the keto cream. Is going to work synergistically to help tighten that skin, euthanize that skin. We also have our C-Med, which is creating that anti-aging autophagy while you're fasting. Watch a video so I don't go on too long about that, but it talks about how it actually cleaves our senescent cells, which are old cells, the dead cells that just aren't getting away. That's why we're getting more youthful cells. I have people sending me pictures like, my brown spot went away from here. This wrinkle went away from here. I don't have any more acne here. It is because when you're intermittent fasting, you're practicing our refast, our reboot, you're practicing our intermittent fasting, your body has time to rest and actually handle that proper detoxification, which is getting rid of things like acne or wrinkles or warts, all those type of things that naturally happen during that pre-aging or accelerated aging phase.
Perfect. And I was going to go on to the Nat 20, but I just thought of one more benefit while you were saying that. And I was like, I just have to have your answer on it. So ketones and digestion. I have so many people that reach out to me and they're like, Sarah, I am regular again. Like they're very vulnerable with me on their experience. How is ketones helping with gut health and digestion?
I try to be brief, but the major function of the large intestine is to reabsorb water and get ready for evacuation. And ketones have a mild diuretic effect. So you put those two things together, either you'll get constipated or you'll get diarrhea. Also, people are going to be thirstier when you drink ketones because they do have a mild diuretic effect, which means you're going to pull water and toxins out of your fat cells. So drinking more water is going to make your skin look better. It's going to help your bowels move better. And if your cravings are lowered and you're having less sugar overall, eating less processed food, you'll move over to more whole foods, more intermittent fasting. It gives your digestive tract more time to actually prepare, to break down the food, absorb proper nutrients, and have time for evacuation and properly evacuate. If you're eating 12 hours a day, your gut can't get a hold of that. You're just eating, it has no time to rest and digest and evacuate. It's just trying to process food all day long. It dumps over into your skin in the form of acne or eczema or rashes. When you properly eat, rest and digest, truly eat when you're hungry, and stop when you're 80 to 90% full, your body can properly do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't happen when we're driving through and eating when things smell good or sound good or somebody baked it for you. Go back to the basics. Eat, rest, digest. Your body will evacuate normally in the morning. And ketones allow you to get back to that natural phase of eating and ignore all the noise going around social media, ignore all the smells going around that you smell, and just go back to that basics of intuitively listening to your body and eating when it needs energy.
I could listen to you all day long. I respect your time, so I won't keep you on here all day long, but I am just absorbing this. I feel like I'm at Keto Academy right now. Thank you for that. So let's go on to some of our products really quick. So if someone's just getting started, let's say they just got this in the mail. So they have 10 different caffeinated, 10 different caffeine free in here. What do they do? Like what time do they take it? How much water do they mix up with it? How long do they spend drinking it? What's just the basics of, I just got this in the mail, now what do I do?
So number one, just decide, why did you drink it? I'm going to assume most people drink it because they are tired, because that's the number one. We hear people are tired and they're craving sugar. So drink it in replace of your sugary beverage. If you're having a soda or a smoothie or something else, that's when you want to drink it. If you're already drinking heavy coffee in the morning, then have the decaf ketone when you start to feel hungry or start to feel your energy go down mid-morning. And then in the afternoon, then have the one that's charged, which is a colored one. I don't have a decaf one with me, which is the one that has charged on it. And have that between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, unless you're caffeine sensitive. On the other hand, if you don't drink a lot of caffeine in the morning, you don't do any coffee or tea, then I would have the charged mid-afternoon. Charged in the morning. So wake up, water first, mix just like it says, 12 to 16 ounces of water. Don't mix with a gallon, don't mix with 30 ounces. Drink every time you drink them, mix with 12 to 16 ounces of water. Drink within about 20 to 30 minutes. Don't drink longer than that because you want to heighten your level of ketones, stay in ketosis for several hours. Have the first one mid-morning, second one mid-afternoon, unless you feel good all afternoon and you're trying to use it, as Sarah and I said, to calm down your brain to get to sleep. You just need to identify when you want to drink it. My normal rule of thumb is drink it 30 minutes before you're hangry, hungry, tired, or workout time. That will work every single time. Don't overcomplicate it. When you drink water, when you're thirsty. When you drink this, when you're that. Well, when you drink ketones, when you're hungry, hangry, tired, or thirsty, or hungry, hangry, tired, or workout. 30 minutes before, 12 to 16 ounces of water. Don't save it overnight. Don't mix it the night before. Shake it up and drink it. Drink within 30 minutes or less to get all the benefits.
I love that. And I always say that too. Take it 30 minutes before you want to feel your best. And I want to feel my best often. So I find myself drinking more ketones throughout the day. And I love that you can't drink too many. I love that they're water soluble. So you're just going to pee out what your body doesn't use. So like you said, you figure out what your goals are and you can drink as many ketones to fit your goals. I don't know if you want to add to that at all before we talk a little bit about Mitoplex. Do you want to talk about how it's water soluble and how you can't drink too many ketones?
No, I just say that we could go on probably all day, because it depends if you're 98 pounds, if you're 300 pounds, it depends if you're already fat adapted, if you're not adapted at all, because if you could be, say, a bigger person, 300 pounds, but you have a lot of food sensitivities, you've eaten really processed foods for a long time, you could be more sensitive to ketones, and maybe you could only really, your body would acclimate to only a half a serving. So that adjustment period may be a week or two for some people. If you're already, maybe say you're 200 pounds and you're already fat adapted, you're on a ketogenic diet, you could be like Sarah and I, could drink 4 or 5 a day. It really depends on your gut health, how much you move. So reduce and start with what works for you. Your gut will tell you what you should do. So if you're getting looser stools, or you're getting constipation, just make sure you're drinking enough water and make sure that you're actually listening to your body. You're not competing with anybody else, and be patient with your body as it adapts to the ketones. Ketones are our natural state of energy. It's what our body loves to burn, but be patient and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Comparison is the thief of joy. So I wouldn't probably get into particulars because it is so unique and different. There's not one size fits each body style. Gut health is what it all comes down to. You know your gut health. If you have a very finicky gut, start slow and steady, a half a serving for 3 or 4 days, then increase it, slow and steady.
That is so important. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because I've been drinking them for over 7 years. So somebody who's just getting started, like, you have to figure out like what's best for that specific body. And we're all so beautifully different. So let's talk about 2 products here, and then I will let you go, because again, I could talk to you all day long. I take this every single day. I feel like it is a product that is not talked about enough. So can you tell me a little, you mentioned it a little bit when you're talking about athletes. I'm not an athlete. However, I take this every single day. It makes me feel so amazing. So can you just kind of touch on like why someone would want to take the Mitoplex every day?
Yeah. I think everyone should take it. I'm going to erase Sarah's word, May. Everyone should take electrolytes every single day. We do get dehydrated because on this standard American diet, standard global diet, we are told to have a diet higher in carbohydrates. I'm not telling you to reduce your carbohydrates. I'm just letting you know that when you have a carbohydrate, you use insulin. Insulin rings the kidney bell that says excrete water, and we get dehydrated. Electrolytes are essential for survival. That means you need them every single day. We can only go 2 or 3 days without water. Water plus electrolytes equals electricity. Electricity is what our brain runs on, our kidney to our heart runs on electricity. Our heart runs on electricity, that whole lub-dub that you all hear all the time. That's all electricity. We hear about signaling. That's electricity. These electrolytes are unique. They have something called PQ2 in there, which is a very specific molecule that helps turn on the energy bus inside the mitochondria. They're dose dependent. What that means is that they are water soluble. Your body uses what it needs and eliminates out what it does need every few hours. You can have this in your water. You can mix it with your ketones. It is meant to be with your ketones because there's no sodium in there. So you do want to mix them with your nat, or again, I love the flavor of the lemon, so you can have it without. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5 a day, depending on how much you exercise, how much you sweat, if you're on a diuretic, if you're in a hot environment, if you're traveling, anywhere from 2 or 3 a day. So if you know that you've drank enough water, you've eaten really well, you've slept really well, you've had a couple ketones, but you're still tired, then have another Mitoplex. So there is not a restriction. We call it the good, better, best. And being dose dependent means your body uses what it needs. Just like when you drink water throughout the day, 1 glass of water is not going to make it all day because your body uses it. If you're a hyper person, a type A person, go, 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 you're just, pushing it pedal to the metal, and you go, 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 and you have like several kids or a high pressure job, dose dependent means your body needs electricity all day long to go. And then you need to shut down the light at night. And that's when you want to use your Keto Pro or your uncharged Keto Nat to shut the light switch off to help calm down the nervous system so you get a good solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And then again, you want to help your body wake up in the morning. You want to have that water to get going, add electricity, and that magic miracle grow, I call it, that fuel injector Keto Nat to get going in the morning. It's that simple. Don't overthink it. But I agree with Sarah. This is underutilized, and everyone needs electrolytes because they are essential for survival.
So wonderful. Okay, very last thing. You have 2 different fasting kits in front of you. the 5-day I fast and the Reboot. So can you talk a little bit about both of those, what your body is experiencing, maybe what's the difference between the two? So let's kind of talk fasting a little bit.
Yep. So I love that fasting has gotten very much more as its growth has actually grown in the news. I'm going to say fasting is our natural way that our body heals, because what happens is we eat in a smaller window. We even did this back in the 1970s. I'm not going to talk about our ancestors that had no refrigeration, no indoor plumbing, no drive-through restaurants, but it's how our body organically processes and heals. We eat in a few hour time frame, we stop digestion, then our whole nervous system calms down, then our body digests, it heals, it detoxes, it cleaves, it cycles our red and white blood cells. Then when we refeed, it again gets all that food, breaks it down, absorbs the nutrients. So when we say that here in the US, we are the most overweight, malnutrition country in the world, probably in trouble for saying that, but I said it, it's because we're eating large quantities of food that have no nutritional value. The iFast is meant to help people get the good rhythm back in eating in a 7 to 8 or 6 hour window, depending where you are. So if you've never intermittent fasted, this has got an amazing plan on the back. And if you're on this page, it's because you've already tried and bought and purchased Prüvit products through a Prüvit promoter, and we actually coach you through this every time we do the iFast. It's meant to help you get in a better rhythm, because I hear people say, you want me to eat in an 8 hour window, like 9 to 5? I'm like, yes, 9 to 5. We're going to have you actually, if you're already iFasting, we're going to have you squeeze that window a little bit. You're still eating. You're still having a whole low carb, healthy meal. You're still having a protein. You're still getting all the nutrients that you need. You can do 5 days. You can start with just 2 days. You can do 1 day a week. This is a very versatile kit. You can use this any way that you choose, but I love this because it helps people get in a rhythm, and the ketones will calm down the cravings like we shared earlier. It'll create satiety so you feel fuller longer. It'll give you all those nutrients that are along with the ketones, the B vitamins, the magnesium, the B6, give you all those other nutrients that your body needs while you're getting in that groove of intermittent fasting. And then once you feel like you're in a good place, actually I feel safe, I'm not going from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. eating in that 14-hour window, I actually think I'm ready to upgrade my health. I want to do some reboot. I want to reset my metabolism. I want to upgrade and reprogram my body. We have what's called a 60-hour reboot that you can actually do the good, better, best system. You can actually do 30 hours or 48 hours. We don't want you diving all in at 60 and causing stress and you actually being nervous or having anxiety. And again, we coach you through this. We have a couple dozen amazing community coaches on this page to help get you through this, whether it's what to eat, when you come out of it, or mentally to help guide you through it, because it is all about mentally preparing. If you've ever had a colonoscopy, you've gone 10 or 12 hours. If you've had dental work, you've gone a long time. If you've had the flu, you've not eaten before. Your body's meant to survive that. But what fasting does is upgrade your metabolism, slow down the aging process. It allows the other systems in your body to actually do what they're supposed to do instead of you always digest. It allows your respiratory system, your lymphatic system, the system that actually slows down the aging process, your skeletal muscle system. It allows the other systems. We have 12 systems in our body, not just digestion. It allows the other systems of our body time to do what they're meant to do and not just digest food all day long. That's why gut health is talked about all over social media and news, because we're eating too many hours of the day. So we have so many amazing, I would say, what do you want to call them? Programs. I try to put them in the window, programs. And I want to say that they are patent pending. They are patent in so many different patents because they are product proved each and every time. They are synergistically meant to go together with the different products in there, and we guide and help you through them. It's not just something that you purchase and you figure out on your own. We give you meal and menu ideas. We mentally help you get through each hour, and we want to connect you to our community so that you're not doing this alone. And that's what I love the most about it. I try to do this in my clinic. They come in, we do a program at night. And this was, 10 years ago before we had any type of program like this, but I didn't have Facebook. We didn't have these WhatsApp calls. I'm a little older than Sarah. We didn't have all these individual devices to help connect people. And this has been the biggest difference to people completing their health goals, is having this community base that we can actually reach out and touch people all around the globe and help them get their health goals met.
I mean, you nailed it right there. It comes down to community. It comes down to support. It comes down to the fact that you're not doing this alone. So when you get started on this journey, like you have like an entire tribe of people that are here to lift you up, support you, answer your questions, and coach you through it. So those of you that have been with Prüvit for a while, or if you just got started, we do have a system. So we drink ketones daily. And then the second Monday of every single month, we're doing that 5-day eye fast that Dr. Heather just talked about. So if you want the coaching live, you can join us every single month. Do that eye fast the second Monday. The fourth Sunday of every single month, we do that 60-hour keto reboot together. So we're all about community here in Prüvit, and I just love how we do this together. It's so much easier when you have these accountability partners doing this with you, because you feel like you don't want to give up because you have so many other people doing it with you. It's so easy to give up on yourself when you feel like you're by yourself. But when you have a support team, it makes it a lot easier. So Dr. Heather, I appreciate your time. If you're watching and you're like, oh, I have a burning question, every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time on our Prüvit page, so not this page, we do stream it into this page. You can ask a doctor live whatever question you have. They're on there for 30 minutes. Sometimes it's Dr. Heather, sometimes it's Dr. Andy. And that is an amazing place to get your live questions answered. So before we say goodbye here, do you have anything that you want to add, anything on your heart? I just appreciate you so much.
No, I just want to thank everybody for jumping on here. And I want to congratulate the people who do have time to take time out of their life to actually take time for their health. People don't schedule time for their health. They schedule time for their nails. They schedule time for their pets to have grooming, schedule time for their kids' activities. But oftentimes I don't see adults scheduling time for their own health. So if you took time out for you today and listened to this, I want to congratulate you and celebrate you. And I want you to thank you for saying, yeah, I deserve this. I deserve better health. I deserve me for 20 minutes learning more how I can optimize my health. And we do try to, again, come together as a community of coaches to give you the guidance that you need. And we collectively come together based on your questions. So you lead us here as an audience, as a consumer of the Prüvit products. As the coaches come together, you guys guide us where we need to be. So please keep commenting. Please keep your questions coming, because we actually direct our programs based on what you guys share. And Sarah, thanks for asking me to be on here today. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And I always love talking about ketones, and I can talk too long, but hopefully I made science super simple today that people know if they want to feel better, this is the way to do it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Everyone have an amazing day, and thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.